Oh, what's happening, everybody? We back for another episode of the Shinobi podcast. I got my family here, and we've been hanging out for the past couple hours, just vibing out, playing with the little one, getting things set up, having dinner, just doing family things, watching Toy Story. Everything you can think of, we got under one roof going on over here.
That steak was lovely.
That steak was delicious.
Shout out George.
Now, shout out Casey.
Yeah,
bro.
shout out
I-
Casey.
I just
Okay,
cooked
you
it, but
okay?
she marinated and shit.
Casey hooked it up, man. She hooked us up. We appreciate you. We appreciate all you do for us, degenerates over here.
For sure, man.
That behind the
She's
scenes
amazing.
uh, there's nothing like a woman's love. It's a different thing.
It's healing.
It's different. It can be healing.
Absolutely.
Can be the other side of the coin as well, but we'll focus on the healing part. We'll focus on having ladies around that give you those healing vibes, that healing energy. Those are the kind of ladies that you must surround yourself with. Damn, that's gonna be my first I don't know if it's a tip, but that's gonna be my first message
Free
of the
game,
day.
ladies and gentlemen.
There
Free
we go,
game.
some free game. First
Shake
message
it.
of the day: surround yourself with women that are healing, not women that are draining. Women that are gonna pour into you. You pour into them. You make this cycle work, man. Like,
Uplift one another.
yeah, build something, man.
100%.
But
Symbiotic.
real talk. It's like the fucking Black Spider-Man. But man, it's been a good day. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've gotten on the mic together. You know, us three.
It has been a while, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
I think the last time was
The family reunion,
Yeah.
bro.
and that
The
was
big get together. Like a
Yeah.
year ago, I feel like.
yeah. I think. How long had you been here?
It's going on. Well, in July it'll be 2 years, so it's been like
Oh, what the fuck?
a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Basically. So it's been like at least a year, because probably was like 3 months in by the time we did that video. So like a year and 3 months, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So it's been that long since we've been on the mic. Damn. A lot of
Time
things have
flies.
changed. A lot of time has passed.
Like we were just talking about new growth, new places, stuff like that. New houses, new opportunities that came through. So a lot of stuff that my bad, but a lot of new opportunities that started happening. That look, just like I said, a year and 3 months basically.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
Dude, I'm kind of silent right now because I'm like,
yeah.
it's been that long. Like,
yeah.
I felt like if you would have asked me and I wouldn't have really focused on it, I'd be like, that was like 6 months ago. But nah, man, like, no, for real, yeah, it has been a good time between the last time we were all on the mic speaking some truths, man. And there's been so much that's gone through that time that it's like crazy to think about that. Just that small period and how much growth and how much stuff has happened. It's a blessing.
Yeah,
you know
bro.
what I mean? Like, shit's crazy, bro. Shit's crazy to think about how, like, one year you're like asking for one thing and the next year it's happening, and then you're like, okay, so like shit's progressing.
Right.
Shit's happening. Shit's popping off. So like I must be doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it right now, where I'm like, damn, bro. Time's going by so quickly.
Did you expect it to? I don't know, because it feels like, for me, it feels like it's happening so quickly, but also it's like it's taking forever at the same time.
I know what you're
Does
talking
that
about.
make sense?
100%.
It feels like it's kind of like
100%.
like you said, looking at it now, it's been a year, but thinking about it, it's like kind of like going it day by day, just going through the whole process. You feel like you taking long to get there. You feel like, but it's like like looking back, you can see like all the process you made and progression that you have done, and it's like, okay, I've done a lot, and looking back at it, but it's like it's been small steps along the way. It's not just been big home runs. It's been wins every day that's been small, just daily compounding, like basically interest on all the wins that you've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
That is a good way to put it,
compounding.
bro.
Yeah.
Because it's like you just doing stuff constantly day by day. It's like everything is like kind of you building every day. So it's like you doing small steps, just like that's getting to these bigger goals that you got set out. So like you have like a goal for best, like maybe like a 3-month goal, but you're doing it like every day. So it's just breaking down to smaller steps every day. So it's like you might be, for me, it might be I have to order shirts or something for an order I have. So that might be like a 2-week goal, but like I'm doing something each day to like get it done. So I might be cutting out things like vinyl, or I might be ordering transfers, whatever the case may be. But I'm doing the small steps to get to the bigger goal. So it's like just tackling those smaller steps to build yourself up, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question for both of you. How do you organize those steps? Because like I'll give an example. Like you said, you might have like a 30-day goal. What are some of the things that you do to prioritize those steps? Because I don't know if there's ever the right steps. I think we just keep taking steps until, we keep taking steps so we can keep inching a little further. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, and I think I kind of still struggle with that because I'm a procrastinator, and I think I've been this way for a long time. And I don't know if it's part of like my ADHD or what, but for some strange reason, like it's like a time blindness thing of like, oh yeah, I have like however long to do this, right? And then it'll get to a shorter period of time where I'm always like, damn, I wish I would have actually like started doing this when I said I was going to start doing it, instead of cramming it into like the next 2 days, the next 2 weeks or whatever. But for some strange reason, bro, that gives me like the fuel to be like, fuck it, I gotta cram it in right here, right now, and time is of an essence.
Yeah.
And for some strange reason, it isn't until I get like almost like pinned against the wall that my brain is able to methodically break everything down and be like, okay, so I'm gonna have to do this for this long, I'm gonna have to do this for this long, I'm gonna have to do that for that long, and then hopefully within the next 14 days or 48 hours, whatever the deadline might be for said task, I break it down in my head quickly and then methodically enough where like when I actually do the action, it's like it's done in like the blink of an eye, if that makes any sense. Where I guess I actually plan ahead so much in my head, like imagining things like that, I play it out and I'm like, okay, boom, once I get to doing it, it just like it's more fluid. So I still struggle with like organizing things like in a better way and like a more methodical way that it should be. I struggle with that in terms of like if it's a 30-day plan, I'm definitely cramming all that shit in the last 2 weeks. Like and it usually goes like that where like I procrastinate until the last minute and then somehow end up kicking it out of the park. But I think it's the pressure. I think it has to do with pressure. I think it has to do with like locking in on some like video game shit. Like when you're like you can't be the boss and you're like, what the fuck, bro? Like, and then all of a sudden you lock in and you like you fucking you lean over a little bit, you fucking get your serious face on, you even like got the fucking controller locked in a little bit closer to your body, and then you start paying attention to like the boss's patterns and shit and where to parry, how to parry, and then next thing you knew, like boom, you fucking pass it, and you pass it so like fluidly that like that's where like I feel like that's where my mental state goes to when I procrastinate, which is like really weird to think about, but like it like just kicks me into that like fucking next gear that I need to go into. But
I know what you mean though, because I can say I've gone through the same thing, and it does fuel me when I know I have to do it, because I know I'm going to do it. Even if I do procrastinate, I know I'm gonna get it done, and it does fuel me. But it has come to bite me in the ass plenty of times as well.
It does come around.
So I'm learning now, bro. It's just like, just do it when do it and there's something that takes us away from doing it in that moment. It's like we can wait on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then things start piling up and and then you're like, fuck, man, and all the responsibilities and shit you have really start showing its face, and then you're like, fuck, maybe I should have did this before all this, piled up on me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to figure out a way to filter all that shit out and dump that dirt off of you. Like life is always fucking piling it on your ass.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? But
so I guess
you don't have to get buried so deep. You know what I'm saying? I've allowed myself to get buried deep on a number of occasions, procrastinating. And I think another reason is because I have such a big like influx of ideas and shit. It's just like, fuck, man, I want
that pop in.
to do that now. I want to do that now. But then it's like having to prioritize everything while leaving room for like, okay, I can do this idea later.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why you always see me with notepads and shit, because I got so much shit going on in my mind. I'm like,
You just want to write it down to remember.
Yeah,
I need to start doing that though. And the one thing that I was going to mention that I was actually thinking about today of how I need to get better at like not being a procrastinator is I was thinking about my expo journey in the restaurant and how when I first started and
expo journey.
Yeah, so like expoing is when you tell your cooking line what items to fire. That means like to cook because I need that order. So like there's a process behind the line that they should like that they have already where they're either slowly cooking your meal to when I actually say, hey, go ahead and fire this, or there's like steps towards it when I say go ahead and do it. They'll like start it off depending on what type of like food it is or what sauces or whatever. Anyways, so I'm verbally telling people like, hey, this table's next, go ahead and fire that up, or this table's next, go fire that up. So I also am in charge of, or was in charge of, garnishing plates. That means like pretty much like finishing them off and putting like, you see that like the little fucking flowers and shit that sometimes they put in
little
restaurants.
finishing touch.
Yeah, like or just like sesame seeds on top, like just little details that go on top as a finishing touch. Like I was usually the one like doing that stuff, right? And then
Presentation.
my specific restaurant, me, one other person, and then our head chef was the only people that were doing that job. But I was thinking about how when I first started, like I wasn't that good. I was decent and I understood the system and the flow, but like I had no practice in it. So I had little flaws, little mistakes, little things that like or I got overwhelmed or like whatever, right? And then as time went by and as the more I did it, like at the end, like I was so good that I saw other cooks come in, other sous chefs come in and try to expo, and they just fucking drowned, bro. Drowned. So like that's what kind of made me realize, all right, so like that's a task that like not everybody can do, because it's like a high pressure situation in certain moments where you're watching tickets pile up. You have to pay attention to what's going out, what's coming in, what you're taking out, what you're firing, like what's next, what's not going to overwhelm your line, like what is convenient to skip just because you check it and you're like, they can wait just a little bit longer versus these people, like we need to get these people out of here or whatever, like, and you just start realizing like little trades of the game through experience and doing the repeated thing over and over. But one thing I remember was when I was struggling, I started to watch my head chef when he was expoing. And the one thing that I realized that he had over me was preparation. Where he knew when it was going to start getting busy, so he started to prepare garnishes and stuff ahead of time, so he didn't have to necessarily do them right in the moment when they're popping up. Versus me, there was a lot of times where I was doing them when they were popping up, so it was kind of putting me in the weeds. He already had things that he was able to prep ahead of time. He was prepping them up, and he had them on the side already ready or whatever. And so it made me realize that preparation was what helped him get through the rush and hard moments. And so today I was literally thinking about like, damn, bro, like you just need to start getting better at preparing your day. Like preparing your day for the next day. Like basically like thinking ahead of time and being like, all right, motherfucker, you're going to have to do this from this time to this time, because then you have a client at this time. So you have to make sure all your dogs go out, the client's dogs get worked before you head out of the house. Then you head out of the house, you do your clients, and then now you're going to have to come back, work the dogs, and then kind of do the same process, cook dinner, blah, blah, like, and go through the process of what your day is, And so like that, I think that's kind of where I'm going to head towards now, is like trying to prepare my day for like a day ahead of time,
Mhm.
just so I can have a better idea of like what my day tomorrow is going to look like, or the next day, or the next day. And I've also been writing everything down on my calendar, like especially like clients and stuff, or like even like trying to like callbacks and do stuff like that, where like I'm
Yeah.
writing shit on the calendar
Yeah.
on my phone, because now it's an alarm that pops up,
Mhm.
and now I'm like, oh shit, I got to do that, and I can either snooze it if I can't do it right there and then, I can snooze it, or I just do it because it's popping up. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Call this person. Like, and then that's what's helped me kind of like prepare to be more organized.
Yeah.
I could agree with you on that though. As far as like the procrastination, like I feel like I kind of like if it's something I have to do like in a time, I have like a time frame. I feel like I kind of start and then like I kind of like dial towards the middle. Then like in the end, when I know I have to like get it done, I kind of like you said, get that you like back against the wall. So you kind of like you get in that mode where like you can just get it knocked out.
Get in that mode.
But I feel like I like in the beginning, like I said in the beginning, I feel like I kind of like get some of the things knocked out. Then it's like I start to like do other things, and like kind of like I guess like forget about it or like kind of put it to the side. And then like I know like I have the deadline in my head, but it's like I'm like doing other stuff, like kind of like you said, like I know I could do it today, but I'm kind of like putting it off.
Right,
So it's
right.
like you kind of like I guess you have like a time frame that you have like to get it done, but you just kind of like keep pushing off. But like you said, if you get it done today, then it's like you could have been doing other things, or like it already be knocked out the way, so you don't have to like keep worrying about it, or like keep like you said, having it in the back of your mind, like I gotta get this done, or like stressing over it. Like you
Right,
said,
right,
when
right.
everything else do start piling up, you're like, okay, now I gotta worry about getting this done with this being done today or something like that.
Right, 100%.
You realize that you causing your own damn stress
Right.
Instead of taking care of it.
instead of taking care
Instead
of
of
it.
taking care of it, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. I've just been trying to get better at the procrastination stuff. That's something I've struggled for years. I've struggled with it for years, so I'm trying to get like ahead of it, I guess.
Mhm.
And as I like get busier and grow a little wiser, I see the benefits of why people write shit down, of why people have post-its
Mhm.
that remind them of shit.
Mhm.
Why people have alarms that remind them of shit. Like, because it fucking works. Because your mind, especially like mine, that's going a million miles an hour. Because that's another thing too, that like, even though I'm a procrastinator, that doesn't mean I'm not thinking about that shit. Like, that doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about that objective that I have to get going. Like, even if I have that long period to like do it, I'm still thinking about it. Like, even if I'm dicking off during the day or doing whatever to keep my mind busy, it's gonna get to a point in that day, even if it's for 1 minute. But I'm gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. How am I gonna do it? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna approach it? What am I gonna say? Like, and then your mind just starts going, and then eventually I'm like, whatever, man. I got like 3 weeks left, 2 days left, 3 days left. Like, and so that like, but at least it gets the gears turning to think about possibilities and variables and how to approach things or what to say or whatever the fuck the case is. And usually because of that like overthinking, it helps me in like real case scenarios. I would say like real actually like when it actually happens and I actually go do it, I'm like, oh, it is like how I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
And it ends up like helping you out. Granted, it doesn't always happen that way, but I feel like it helps with the process a lot more than it doesn't. Like,
Mhm.
that's how I feel. I don't know.
Like you think about it so much, it happens the way you want it to happen, or like
Or at least a variable of what you thought was going to happen.
majority of it happens
Yeah.
the way it happens.
Yeah,
Mhm.
where you're like, okay, at least I thought of that. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I thought of that outcome, so it makes sense that it did actually happen. So that's like something that I think I end up winning on a lot of times. But there has been times like the procrastination, like you said, it ends up biting you in the ass because you didn't plan accordingly, or you
Yeah.
just simply didn't think about it enough,
Mhm.
or you got a little cocky because it's worked out for you 98% of the time, 95% of the time, and then that 5% that you didn't prepare enough or didn't think about it enough or just simply didn't start before you should have bites you in the ass. Like, it just bites you in the ass. Like,
It does.
and it happens, bro. And sometimes it's a big play, sometimes it's a smaller play, but it ends up biting you in the ass. And so that's why I'm trying to learn to just be more prepared. Because the biting in the ass is going to happen. You just have to be more prepared about it. Like, that's kind of like what I took away from literally a conversation I was having with myself today. Where I'm like, bro, like, you get into these like really good flows some days, and then other days you're just like fucking moping around, and I think it's just part of life.
Yeah.
I think it's also part of like my imposter syndrome of always feeling like I'm not doing enough, right? But I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing okay. I think I could be doing worse. I think I could be doing better, but I think slow and steady is winning the race. That's how I'm seeing it right now. Slow and steady seems to be winning the race. And I might not be the fucking fastest fucking one out there, but I fucking for sure am not the slowest. So the slow and steady
Well,
seems to be winning the race, dude.
when you take it slow and steady, you can really soak everything in.
You're really painting everything out.
Yeah, and you
That's
really see everything coming. Like, oh damn, I see that. It's not just the blur that's going by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can slow it down. But sometimes you be wanting to sprint, man. You be getting tired of moving at that pace, and you want to sprint through.
You
You
gotta
know what I'm
move
saying?
at your own pace. But like you say, if you sprint, sometimes you gotta like you might be sprinting because you're trying to like feel like you're catching up with other people, or like you might see other people like
Mhm.
you
starting
might
to catch
think
up to you.
like that either too. You might see people catching up to you, or you think people's ahead of you, so you like kind of trying to chase people, or you might be trying to like you say you feel like you're not in a good enough space, so you feel like you need to work harder or push for more. But it's like you gotta be comfortable with where you at right now and like accept where you are is where you're supposed to be at. So
Yeah.
it's like if like what us right here right now, we supposed to be here doing this talk, we supposed to be having this conversation. If like the position you in right now is like the position you put yourself in. So like whatever you was doing 5 years ago is the reason you in the position you are today. Whatever you doing today is gonna be the reason you in the position in for five years from now.
Yeah.
So it's like if you don't like the position you in now, you got to do something to make that change. And it's not just saying like, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm just going to say I'm gonna change, and then I'm going to just keep doing the same things or just stay the way I am. It's like you have to actually constantly, like you said, either you got to be thinking about it, which have to be actually doing the effort and work behind it to actually grow and change for what you're trying to do.
No doubt, you gotta actively change.
It's not going to like happen just tomorrow, but it's going to be.
Yeah, man. You're gonna have to give yourself some grace because you're gonna be messing up. You're gonna be up and down.
I feel like a lot of failures end up with victories. Like you have to fail a lot, or at least a good amount of times, to be like, all right, that shit didn't work.
Yeah.
So let's try this. Let's try that.
That's pretty much been my teacher.
Like that's kind of what I've been going off of too, man.
You know?
Where like I'm like, okay, well, like, like especially with the business, it's like, let's try putting some ads out. Let's try doing this. Let's try doing that. Like, and you're kind of just like experimenting with what's gonna kick you off per se. Like, because like not everything that works for somebody else is gonna work for you. You have to find out what works for you and what you feel like almost like a calling to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if like you guys feel that way, but I feel like especially with the dog training, it's almost like there's little things in my life that always led me to where I'm at, which like goes what like behind like what you're saying is like little shit that you're doing 5 years ago is what puts you into the position you are in today.
Yeah.
I think about like how I didn't even know I was going to be a dog trainer until later on. Like I knew like I was like I know I fuck with dogs and I know I fuck with like training them and teaching them shit, but I don't think I ever actually thought that I would end up being a professional dog trainer for a living. Like I G shit. Like I don't think I think it was like a fantasy, almost like a dream, like where I was like, and then now we're here, So it's like, well, I guess like what a lot of people talk about when they say like your dreams really do come true, or like the shit that you really like try to project out there actually ends up like happening. Like I definitely feel like dog training was something that was like meant to happen. As weird as that sounds.
Well, just seeing you with the dogs, I can attest to that. Like you're supposed to be doing what you're doing. I could see it.
It very much feels that way. Too.
Yeah, and just your interactions, like with the dogs, it's your kindred spirits. It's very obvious. You're supposed to be here doing something together.
And my dogs,
That was a question I was actually gonna ask y'all. Like, from when you was a kid to like now, like what did you want it to be like when you grew up, and to what you do now? Like, how is it different? And like, what do you like?
That's a good question.
Learn what I guess like what are like I guess just like some of the similarities that you have from like wanting to do that now to what you're doing. like what you want to be when a kid. Like I guess you could say like say if you wanted to be like a let's say a doctor when you grew up, right?
Mhm.
But now you train dogs. Like what can you see if like something that's kind of like the same or like differences? I guess like what steered you to that path, you could say.
Okay, so I think me, like a lot of people around my age, and even like a little younger or a little older, but I think a lot of people can relate with like I think at the beginning stages of that weird age where you're like trying to figure out like what you're gonna do. You know, I'm talking about like high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, so because I wanted to be an engineer, and I was actually going to school to be an engineer, and then like just shit happened where like I like screwed off from that, and we are where we are today. But I think a lot of that was part of like my upbringing that was you need to go to school in order to make it in life. Like that was kind of like what I grew up on is like education, education, education. I think I've
Yeah.
talked about this
Yeah.
where like my grandparents, they're professors. So like
Okay.
they're like well educated people, bro. Like one of the only reasons why even some of my friends are like, oh, your Spanish is like really, really, really good is because grandma at home, when we spoke Spanish, it was only proper Spanish.
Mm.
We couldn't use slang. She acted like she didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Like even it's like my mom was on the same shit. Like she only spoke Spanish at home, and she acted like she didn't fucking speak English, bro. They were very much on that shit, and that's what I grew up on. So I think when I was younger, more than anything, I was like kind of trying to please my parents slash grandparents in their idea and their concept of like what being successful was.
Right.
And then I came to the States, finished high school here, and then I didn't really like. First off, I never really fuck with college, like schooling. It's not that I didn't fuck with college. I didn't fuck with schooling that much. Like
Yeah.
it was like mundane and like repetitive for me. So then like even though I had like good grades and like scored well and stuff, like it still like was one of those things where like I just like at one point in my life I was like I don't fuck with any of this. Like actually like I don't fuck with none of this shit. And I always had issues too with professors because I was opinionated. You know, like I always like kind of asked. I was like the why kid. Like I think I've always been the
You're
why
going
kid.
against the
And
status quo.
And I think that's what helps me with dogs because I'm like, why is that dog doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he being weird? Like why are we getting these triggers from it? Why does that trigger that dog versus this? Or like why like all like I think that like me being a why kid is actually what translates very well into dog training because I'm like why is that happening and how can I fix it? And so it like turns my fucking gears and like actually like stimulates my brain to try to come up with a fucking solution.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I knew what I wanted to do until I was like 24, 25, somewhere around there, bro. Like where I like was like dog training.
Yeah.
Because even because you met me around the time that I was training Azula, but I don't think you ever heard me say that I was going to be a dog trainer.
No.
Like, because that's like that wasn't the goal. That wasn't the plan, bro. Like that wasn't something that was like I was going for. Like now that I look back and where I am now and like where life was when I was younger and how I like my mom always said she was like, dude, like you've always had this weird connection with animals. Like she said it herself. She was always like, dude, you were like you've always like liked horses and fucking goats and pigs and dogs and ducks and like she was like, you name it. Animals have always been your thing. And like I like looked like and this was like around that like again 24, 25 year mark where I was like kind of asking more questions about like myself to my mom. Where I was like, Mom, what was I into when I was young? Because it was almost like I disconnected from that.
Yeah.
So like once I started connecting back with like shit that I asked my mom about my childhood, where she was like, I don't know, you were always into like cars. You were always into animals. You were always into this. And like once I started digging into like what I was into as a kid, that's I think what gave me the answer of like I think it's dog training. Because like when like even when we hung out when I was younger and I only had a Zula, like I didn't talk about I was gonna be a dog trainer. I think it was like the beginning stages of the thought being, I guess like nurtured in my mind of like you kind of fuck with this. Like you enjoy seeing the dog progress and grow and understand what you're trying to communicate to it. Like I genuinely like enjoyed that. And now what I enjoy from the job is like teaching people that and watching their reaction of like what the fuck? And I think like the crazy part too is like a lot of people are like, where did you learn this? Like, where did like I think they assume that I'm gonna be like, I went to school and I got certified for this, and that, and I'm like,
I went to the Harvard of dog training schools.
I think that's what they expect, and I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, what it really is some dude that was in the game for 25 years took me under his wing and saw something in me that like, because I asked him one time and I was like, why did you fuck with me, bro? And he was like, you were persistent. Like that was like he like straight up told me that the reason why he put me under his wing was because I was persistent. And I remember at that time I was like almost like, dude, like don't like to anything, bro. Like I'll do anything.
That shit speaks
like,
volumes, though,
anything to fucking get put on.
man.
Like anything. Like you need help. Like I'll fucking clean kennels. I'll do that. Like I remember just being like, dog, like just show me the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just need to know. Like I'm curious. I'm trying to do this. Like I don't know. Like I fuck with it. And he just took me under his wing and he showed me what the deal was. And then like that's what took like everything took off from there basically. And then like I want to say that was like 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
24, 25. Somewhere around there was when I was like actually like what the fuck is good almost.
Yeah.
And I started asking questions about myself though. Like where I was really like, what like brought happiness? Like it's like I think what it was is like I got disconnected in those party years from like myself, like in those like early 20 party years. Like I got a little disconnected from like my true inner child, I would say. And then when I tried reconnecting with it and asked my mom a bunch of questions about, you know what, like almost gave me drive as a kid. She was the one that gave me the answers, and she's the one that I was like, yeah, man, it makes sense because like I like cars and I like animals.
Yeah.
So like it makes sense that like something that I like, and to this day you hear me talk about it all the time. I was like, dude, I want a race car or some sort of fast vehicle that I could do some competitive type of shit with, like because it's just something that calls to me, dude. I don't know what it is, bro. I don't know what it is. I couldn't explain it to you, bro. Like I could not. But it's like that's really what like set the path to the dog training journey. Is that like I never thought I would be here when I was younger. Like even like I think if you would have asked me at 22, 23, I might have dropped like a small comment about like maybe I'll do something with dogs, but like never until I was like in my mid 20s where I had a concrete answer to people to tell them like this is what I want to do. And then I think from there till now is where I like actually really put like the groundwork into where I am now.
Yeah.
Like before that it was just like I said, a dream, a fantasy, words. You know, like they were just words. And then once I actually started putting it into motion was when everything started to like kind of have like a snowball effect. And then we're here. So that's how I ended up where I'm at. But never in my life would I have imagined it, to be honest. But I feel like that's how it happens with people. I feel like when I talk to people that they're in what they're in, they're like, yeah, I used to do this, but now I do this. And I'm like, yo, what?
Yeah.
And like sometimes it's crazy, bro. Like sometimes like I've definitely heard stories where like people were lawyers and they're like, oh yeah, but like now I don't fuck with that. So now I breed Frenchies. And I'm like, okay, cool, bro. Like, you know, like it's just like some weird out of pocket shit. But I think what it really comes down to is people think in their head and they have an idea of like what they think they want to do and be, and then once they reach it they're like, actually fuck this. And then that is what makes them realize that like that wasn't their dream, that wasn't their goal, that wasn't their aspiration, and then they reconnect with the real goal and aspiration, and I think that's when they kick off.
And sometimes they realize that they've been living somebody else's dream the whole time.
And that's kind of where I was saying is like I think I was living like my grandparents and my parents' dream, like to like go to school, finish a career, and do all this. But like, I really got to a point where I was like, I just really could care less for school. Like I could care less. Like I almost viewed it as a waste of time.
I felt like that real early with schooling.
Really?
I felt like I've done like the schooling I've just done on my own has far exceeded anything I ever learned in the public school system, you know?
And I think that's what kind of fucks you up. Because once you start branching out to receive your own knowledge of things, you kind of get discouraged of the public school system. And this is actually something I've talked to Case about where I'm like, I don't really know if I want my kids in the public school system.
You realize how low grade that shit is.
It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. crazy, bro.
Most public schools are fucking bottom of the barrel in fucking resources, teachers.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of why I like that Abbott Elementary sitcom I watch sometimes. Because it's just like about a podunk fucking like school that has like, it's like a low income or low resource school like you're talking about, and just like the like adversity that they have to like overcome.
Well, I think that's one of the messages in there is like,
Absolutely.
hey, a lot of these schools out here are like this.
Exist,
You
brother.
know?
Yeah. Granted, I never went really to a school like that, but I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like I've seen how like just for me, my personal experience was in the schooling system here. When I came from Mexico to here, I was like, yo, this is what you guys are covering this in high school. Like I saw some of this stuff in middle school. Like you guys are covering this in high school. In high school.
That's real talk.
And I think that's where I really, really lost all motivation for school. Is when I actually made that switch over here, expecting that I would get better schooling here. And I was met with a harsh reality of no.
It's like, no, we're actually gonna make you dumber.
Yeah, pretty much.
You got to regress a little bit to be on this level.
Pretty much how I felt, and it just made me lose all motivation, dude. And I don't know if I've told you this before, but I had a world history teacher, right? The first year that I moved here, it was sophomore year, and I went to school at night, and so then when I first moved here, going to school in the morning was like fucking unheard of for me.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So back home, you have the option of going to school in the morning or at night. And since like middle school, I went to school at night. So like I went to school and showed up to school at like 4 and didn't get out of school until like 9 or like 10 or some shit like that, whatever. And so it was like night school. Like, but it, like that's how it was back home. Like you had like not every school had that option, but certain schools had the option of having a AM or a PM shift. For it might have been 2 to 10. I don't fucking remember, but like I went to school at night, bro. Like so I stayed up, and this is where I think the night owl fucking journey started. Where I'm just like a late at nighter, but I came here and I slept through her class for the first fucking last half of sophomore year. And they were covering actually like one of my favorite parts of like history, basically, which is like, oh, actually, I just love history in general. But they were like covering the wars and shit. So I like knew a lot of information about the wars through not only just like video games, but because I liked world history. So I would sleep through a class, and I still passed because the system for here at the time was like 60% of your grade was the test. So I passed the test and did little schoolwork and shit, and would end up getting like a passing grade.
But I knew the system.
I slept through her whole fucking like last half of sophomore year world history class. Passed by sleeping in her class and just taking tests. She never gave me grief about it, bro. Ever. She never woke me up. She let me fucking sleep in the back of the fucking class. And I'm talking about knock the fuck out with a hoodie on type shit. Like passed out on the desk.
She knew what was up.
So
she knew that the place was teaching some bullshit.
Come junior year, the first half I had to take the half that I like missed of world history from the like sophomore year. So I had like 2 history classes for fucking junior year. And so the first half of their semester here was ancient civilizations. So it covered like all that shit. And I was awake because it was like after lunch. Like the class was either after or before lunch. I can't remember. It was one or the other. But I was like way fucking active in that class to the point that she was like, yo, what the fuck? Where was this kid at like last semester? And I was like, bro, I was asleep, bro. Like I couldn't come in here and fucking take your classes early. Like you're out of your mind. So I just slept because I already knew all this shit. Like because I had seen most of that world history shit in middle school for me. Like that was like a sophomore class, like curriculum. I saw that shit. I think like fucking 6th grade, 7th grade, some shit like that.
That's
like,
when I took fucking world history with sophomore year. Yeah.
So it's like I thought it was really weird because by the time I got to the high school grade back home, we were like kind of like I guess like getting deeper into our history, like our personal history. Like that's like what I remember. Like it wasn't like I remember that once I got to high school back home, it was almost like all that colonizing shit went out the window. Like it was almost like I got to like the nitty gritty of like, all right, guys, well, all that shit you guys learned beforehand was like kind of like the shit we had to teach you, and then now this shit is like the real shit.
But like, this is what happened.
Yeah, this is what.
This is what really went
and
down.
I don't know if it was because of the teacher I had and how he ran his program or what, or maybe it was the school and the way the school ran their program. But I definitely felt like, for me, was high school back home was when I felt like I really started to learn shit about like home and like a lot of shit that was like not part of like world history per se, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
so that's what I remember in my high school, like kind of like career back home. And then when I got here, I was like, y'all like going through this. But then I think junior year is when I got interesting, because then I think that was like either American history or like something else that I was like, okay, I felt like I actually learned something because I didn't know shit about American history actually.
Yep.
Like I didn't
Junior
know
year was fucking U.S. history.
Yep, I didn't know shit
I
about
remember the
US
fucking
history, bro.
book and everything. I remember the class. I remember my teacher.
And I also remember enjoying that class because I didn't know shit about U.S. history.
Mm.
So I remember being like, "Oh, I'm actually like learning." So like I history. I fuck with history, so I like learning about shit like that. So then I enjoyed having world history for junior year because it felt like I was actually learning something. Other than that, everything else was ass. Like the schooling was just ass in my opinion.
I think I had American history my junior year. I'm thinking the teacher we had, we used to always watch videos. So most of the time I was in there sleep. I mean, I feel like I still passed the class, of course, but like I feel like for the most part, I was doing like watching videos and like you had to just fill in the blanks basically. But
Yeah.
like you said, like going to sleep and just taking this as basically the main thing. But I remember it was like my freshman year, I had like honors world history or something like that because I think I was like doing good in like 8th grade or something like that. So the teacher was like, I think you should try honors. So I was like, all right. I mean, it wasn't like too bad, but I feel like it was more so like just like they was giving like, I guess you could say like the extra activities like outside of school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was like the main things I didn't like want to do. So I guess like that's like my main thing with school I didn't like was like, I guess you could say like, I guess like doing the extra activities like homework basically was like the main thing I didn't like, or like, I mean, cause like for the most part, school was okay for me, cause I guess cause of sports. So it was like I had sports to go to, so it was like the main reason I wanted to go. But like as far as like school, I mean, I did good like for grades wise, but it's like for the most part, I didn't really like. I guess like say care too much, or like wasn't like bad for me, I would say. But like it was just like I gotta go. So it's like I'm gonna make sure I get it done though, because I knew if I didn't, I was gonna get in trouble at home. So it's like I definitely gonna make sure I have good grades at least.
Yeah,
If,
for
if
sure.
I'm not gonna like,
for
I
sure.
mean, 'cause,
That's
like I don't know if I'm going to college or anything, but like if I do have to go to college, or if I like that's the route I choose, I have to have good grades or a good GPA.
Yeah.
So I at least took it serious though.
You have to follow the system's rules to be a part of it.
for sure. It wasn't until I came here that I became like a C student. Because before, when I lived with my grandparents, it was like the expectation was for us to get good grades. Like we couldn't.
That was on your ass.
Yeah, we could not be top of the class. Like, and I remember like being competitive like that too, where I was like, I like felt like I needed. I think it was like the people pleaser in me though. And at one point when I became a teenager, I was like, man, fuck people pleasing. And like I just like went off the rails. Like this isn't like what I want to do or the shit I give a fuck about. Because like before then, like I was getting good grades and I was taking it as like I have to be like the best top in my class. But I think it like was stemmed from like I just want to make my caretakers or like my parents or whatever happy. You know what I mean? Like that's what that stemmed from. And then once I was like, man, fuck that, I want my happiness. Like is when I was like, fuck school and shit. But like at the end of the day, like I think it's just the system and the schooling wasn't for me. Like for my mind and the way I think I look back and I'm like, dude, like I just don't think that system was for me. And a lot of people tell me that I should probably like take up college and try to like some college classes. Like I've had actually a couple of friends that have recommended like I should pick up like philosophy or like just like little stuff like that to go and check it out. And I am kind of curious, but I feel like I'd like rather go when I'm like a little bit older and more appreciative of the knowledge per se. Like as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Where like right now, I feel like I would view schooling as a waste of time. But I feel like if I progressed in the business and I like got to a point where, you know, like someone else was like kind of like overseeing everything, and I was more of like on the outskirts of the business, where like, you know, as an owner, I was just popping in to make sure everything was running okay, and, you know, maybe like doing seminars or like shit like that.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would be interested in. Like, I think I should do. Why not go back to school?
Gotcha.
Because like something that's always interested me is like learning different languages, like you know, like philosophy in a way. Like I never really realized I was into it until I started talking to other people. Like one of my really good friends, like that lives in Cali now, like he's the one that actually like was one of the first people to tell me, he's like, you know what, like I went to college for a little bit, and I really didn't fuck with college, but he's like, but you, the way you think and the way you talk about shit, you remind me of like some of the people that were in my philosophy class. He's like, I think you would really, really enjoy some of the conversations that even I had in classes like that. And I was like, damn. And it kind of like opened my mind to like the thought of like, yeah, it would expose you to a different way of like thinking and looking at things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because people are there, they're paying money to show up and like have classes. So it's different than you going to like high school or middle school or whatever, and it's like free. Granted, like some people go to like, you know, private school or whatever, like, but I mean, I didn't go to private school for school, so it's like you don't fucking care, you know? You just don't give a fuck because you're not putting your money into it. But once you get older and you're putting thousands of dollars into education,
and you start
or
thinking
even
about
hundreds,
investments.
yeah, then you start to give a fuck about what you're showing up to class for, you know? And so that's why I think that's what I mean by like a little older, where I like, and it's not necessarily, I don't have to be fucking 50, but like maybe like low 40s, older 30s, like show up to class or even take online classes or some shit. Like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, everything's online now.
But I've definitely thought about it. It's something that's definitely gone through my head.
I don't think it's a bad idea, like getting back into it, because I've actually been going through the same thoughts in my head of like, you know, after I'm done with the career I have now, it's like, what am I gonna do after that, outside of that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I've been getting into like plants and herbs and shit like that, because I want to get involved in that, and I know it's gonna.
That's just dope too.
But I want to actually
That's just dope too.
have the credentials, like the real credentials, not just self-teach myself and shit like that, but actually go have the credentials and like really do it.
That's also kind of one thing that attracts me to going back to school is like credentials and like something that has to do with like my field. You know, because like I feel like a lot of people are still skeptical to like hire me, I guess, or even give me the time of day because I don't have the credentials. So I would like
it's everything
to
man.
eventually put a stop to those type of like thoughts by being like, yeah, bro, I went to school for it. Like,
I was like, man, you need to see my diploma. What you need to see?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got
Just
the videos,
just
I got the
for
diploma. What else?
the naysayers per se, you know what I mean? The people that have to see the piece of paper on my wall that says like I am this or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, that's definitely something else that's kind of like motivated or at least sparked the thought of going back to school and acquiring more knowledge. Specialized knowledge, I guess I would say. But definitely something that's ran through my head a couple times recently too. Recently was like when I was like, what if you went back to school, you know?
Well, that's the world we live in, man. So it's like we have to move with this world and the way it operates. We can't totally be detached.
Yeah.
And think that we're gonna thrive. You know, we gotta
definitely, man.
Has to be some.
You have to evolve.
Has to be some give and take. You know.
I know, 'cause like you said about going back to school. Like I've thought about like going back to school because like I did go to school for being a mechanic, but then like when COVID happened, I was just like, I don't even know how that's gonna work. Like doing mechanics, cause I thought like, cause they say basically everything was gonna be online, so I really didn't even like look into it. Like how was I gonna do school and anything? I just kind of like basically kind of like just gave up on it, cause like I'm like I have a job, I'm gonna just do that. But then it was like job not paying enough, so it's like what am I gonna do now? So it's like, I mean, I had end up eventually getting a job welding. Like you said, people have like a job doing one thing, then end up doing something else. Like I was welding, now I'm making t-shirts. So it's like kind of I was still doing that same time, like welding and making t-shirts. But it's like welding, making t-shirts. Now I'm in the food industry, so like I'm doing something totally different. But it's like thinking about going back to school is like, what would I go back to school for? So it's like I know, like I said, doing mechanics. I thought about that, but like I don't know if I want to go back to school for that, because I know it's like when I started it, it was like I was had to do like the electrical side. So that's kind of like one thing I didn't even think about. Like you got to work with the cars, like the electrical and stuff like that. So it's like that's one thing you had to know how to do. Like I mean, for the most part, like I was doing good. But it was like you had to like know like the wires and stuff like that. But I was thinking about we got to go in. I'm about to go in and change some brakes and just work on the engine or something like that. Just like being a mechanic basically.
Right.
But I wasn't thinking about like being in the book, doing all the book work, stuff like that. So that was like that's what kind of like when I got to college, I was like, I really don't want to do all of this because I don't want to do all this book work. But it's like I need to because I don't know like if it could be like a fuse plug that's wrong with the car, and I don't know how to do it because I didn't do that at school.
Right.
That was like the
You
main
didn't
only thing
pay
that's wrong with the
attention to
car.
that or whatever.
But like, I'm thinking about, I'm gonna just change the brakes or something like that. So it's like there's way more stuff deeper into it that I actually got to know about the car and stuff like that. So I guess it kind of like it didn't necessarily just like get me off of it, but it was like that's the only part I got to was like I was in the book, and then like college like got shut down after that. So it was like I don't even know what to do now. It's like I don't even want to go back now. It's like I didn't even really get to do nothing. So it's like why do I go back to me? So it kind of like messed up my experience of college, you could say.
Okay.
But it was like I still want to like you said have those credentials of being that I did something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah,
like I
I
feel
feel
that I'm
that. I
in.
feel that for sure. I feel that 100%, man.
So like I said, like for the most part, it wasn't like I wouldn't say school was bad because I ain't gonna say like I was like like you said like I did honors, but like I feel like I got like what a C in honors class, so I feel like I was like a C student. Like in average classes, I was doing good, but I feel like if I was doing like trying to like push myself to higher classes, it was like I said, I was like an average student, but it's like I still got the work done. It's like I knew what I was doing, because I just didn't want to do it. So it's like for the most part, it's like I guess it's like how you learning, and then like how the teacher teaches is like how you really excel and really what you get to do want to do. Like if the teacher is teaching you just like off the chalkboard, but you a more hands-on a student, it's going to be like you might grasp it, but it's going to be harder for you to get it.
Right.
So it just depends on like how you
your
learn
type of
and stuff like
learning,
that.
basically. Yeah.
Like with the school that you go to as well.
100%. 110%.
So like you were saying, like with the system, it might be they might be teaching it this way, but you need to learn in a certain type of system or something like that. Like you're saying, like going back home, they're teaching it a different way.
I look at it as like giving yourself every advantage possible in this fucking world, man. So why not, sacrifice a little bit of time? Because
a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, bro,
a lot of knowledge.
And when you get it, you realize, all right, that temporary time might have been challenging, but it's over now. I got the credentials. It's over. I think it's worth it,
Yeah,
like,
I definitely think it would be worth it as well.
It also depends on like how long you going to school for too as well, because like sometimes like you said, like if you go to school to be like a doctor, you're gonna be like there for like 10, 12 years. So like you got to really be dedicated to sticking it out for however long it is that you got to go to school. So it's like if you want to whatever it is you're trying to do, you can't be like you said trying to rush the process or procrastinate to actually get it done. So if you want to like say if you want to like we're podcasting, or if you want to go to school for like theater or something like that, you need to like actually see where you want to go, what's the best options for you, and then like actually schedule out when you're gonna do it. See like what's the best options. Like you, but like I was saying, like going back to like the who teaches you is like that's gonna be like the big thing to it. Either you stay in school or you quit or not.
Yeah, man, because I could just think like my whole school career and the handful of teachers that really stick out, because I don't know, I guess the way they were teaching resonated with me.
I was gonna say it almost feels like for me, it's the teachers that gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's like the teachers that gave a fuck, the ones that I remember, because they cared about teaching the kids to the point where like I fucking learned. Like if that makes any sense at all, is that the reason why I look back to certain teachers and I'm like, damn, that's a good teacher, is because I actually learned something. Like through their teaching process and the way they went about the classroom and the control that they had and the focus that they demanded, like I learned something through that classroom because of the way that teacher. And that doesn't mean that they were like super strict either, because I definitely remember a couple of them that were very kind of like loose professors or teachers, and like I learned a lot because they were so loose. You know, granted, there was other ones that they were strict that I remember, but they gave a fuck about their job and they were serious about it. You know, like they actually were like, listen, motherfuckers, we're here to learn and we're here to fucking go through this shit. And they actually cared to teach you the information that was given to them or whatever, you know, and those are the people that like resonate in my head looking back at teaching, is like the ones that I'm like, oh, they just gave a shit. Like that's the difference. It's like the reason why you remember Mr. or Mrs. whatever is because they gave a shit. They gave a shit so much that like they were like, we're gonna fucking teach them, and we're gonna fucking teach them good, you know. And the teachers that kind of just glide by in your head are the ones that probably just didn't give a fuck. Like that's kind of how I look at it.
Well, each teacher had, like, when you went into a classroom, that was their domain. So, like, in their personal life, if they were a pushover or anything like that, like, they were going to be that in the class. Kids weren't going to learn. So it really came down to, like you said, those teachers that were like, yo, this is my class.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah,
we gonna learn in here. We're going to do how I do it in here. Like, really take charge, because, you know, just like we talk about with like Kenji, kids know who they can take advantage of. I can remember we used to terrorize substitutes, bro.
Dude.
I remember that happened one day in chorus class. They actually made the teacher cry. They made it like was picking on it so much.
Oh yeah, we
Dude,
made a
like,
teacher
that's
fucking leave, bro.
Man,
She left. The substitute left.
I don't doubt it, bro. I don't doubt it. I was definitely part of many classrooms where we were just such dickheads that substitutes just gave up. They just gave up. Like I had one person that you're saying, they walked out. They gave us the worksheet and walked out because they were like, "Listen, bro, you guys either do this or not. Your teacher's gonna ask for it tomorrow."
You know what happened this one time, bro? One time we ran the teacher away. She walked out, like she had enough and just walked out, bro. The next person that walks in is the principal.
Yeah, bro.
Like she gone. Like she ain't coming back. You ain't got a teacher for the day. I'm like, damn, man. We got rid of the reserve.
Yeah.
That's when you know you want to be a teacher, not for real.
Yeah.
That first day.
Yo, but it's like bro.
Like how you get ganged up on and let some kids kick you out?
I just don't know what drove us as shitty children to see substitutes, and you can almost smell it off the ones that you were like, oh shit.
Because they were just so happy to be there, bro. Like,
as kids, everybody just knew we got a sub,
and they wanted to make us a good impression, so they were all extra nice,
bro,
and we just
tore
trampled
apart,
all
bro.
over.
Trampled,
like a shock in the water.
I feel like there is definitely some substitute teachers that we probably came across in our lifetime as children that we like changed their perspective on wanting to be teachers.
Oh, no doubt.
There was definitely a couple of classrooms that I was part of that we were like pretty much shitty kids, all put in one classroom.
Oh yeah,
that shouldn't have been done. I don't know who the fuck be planning out classrooms and classes, bro. But there was definitely a couple fucking classrooms that I was part of where I was like, y'all fucked up on this one. And certain substitutes just couldn't handle it, bro. That's what it was, bro. Because everybody just fed off each other's energy. And it just became like this fucking riot. Like riot in the classroom of people just not giving a fuck about what the teacher said, bro. And that's, I think, the beginning stages of what taught me that, like, the people have the power. That if you can't control the classroom of 30, bro, like it's not happening, bro. It's just not happening, bro. Like even if you can't control 5 of them, bro, it's contagious. It's like it really is contagious where then like one more adds in, and then another, and then the next thing you know, half the fucking classroom's acting a fucking muck, bro. Like it's
how far I call the president? Calm down,
dude. It's
trying to call for backup. Like you by yourself, you can't handle this.
Poor teachers, man. Poor teachers dealing with it. Like, it really takes a special kind. Like now as a dog trainer, I have so much more of an appreciation for teachers because I'm like, damn,
they really went.
I couldn't do it.
You're doing because just like with dogs, you're doing it for the love of the game, bro. Right. You're really doing it for the love of the game, bro. Because there's plenty of people that like I talk to and they're like, fuck them dogs. And I'm like, You're not wrong. But I like them furry fucks, and I'm gonna have to try to save them and help them, bro. But it's the same vibe, bro. It's the same exact vibe that like if you ain't if you ain't in it for the love of the game, like it's so tough, bro. It's really tough, bro. It's really tough.
I remember we had this one
The
sub.
patience
She
required.
used to like she would always come in with like some cookies she would make. It was like some little thin cookies. I don't know if it's kind of like felt like kind of like looked kind of like a waffle, but it was like real thin. But them junk was always good. I'm like, yeah. Well, every time we like had her as a sub, we always knew she was coming with the cookies. We knew it was gonna be a good day. But yeah, like certain subs, like you knew it was either gonna be a good day or it's like he come in, it's like nah, it's like gonna be a bad day. He come get your sub. Like yep, you already know. So we got I remember it was this one sub. He used to work at like Papa John's. Like he's like substitute, but also worked at Papa John's. So it's like he'd come in, he'd be like, it's like if he came in, it's like yeah, it's gonna be a bad day. It's like he's just gonna like if he catch you on your phone, he gonna take it or something like that. It's like just like it might be something like not even that small like that. Like if you just like crowd getting loud, he gonna start acting up, whatever. It's like you just look like certain subs, you know, like okay, we're gonna have a good day, or today it's gonna be it's gonna be a bad day. It's just those subs you have.
That was good times, though, man. Talk a lot of shit about public schools, but we had some good times.
Good times, bro. Good times. Shit that if you were in a fucking foofy ass private school, you probably get kicked out, or your fucking parents got a fucking big fine or some shit. I don't know how that fucking shit works.
Me either, bro.
Yeah, we finding
I feel like that ain't private school behavior.
Incident.
I don't know. I don't know, bro.
And dude, that really like the division in like classes. School opened my eyes up to that shit. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Well, I guess like I would like financial classes, like, dude, because my entire school career, I would be going to these rich ass white schools, bro, just like getting exposed to this world I had no part of.
Clue. No clue. You're like, this is how people be living?
Yeah, so as early as elementary school, and it started like going on like sleepovers and shit with classmates and shit, you know, and seeing how they lived and being like, nigga, how are we living?
Like, how are we living? Yeah, that's some real ass shit though. That's some real ass shit because growing up here, like, because I did go to elementary school here, so I did have school like friends here and shit, and that is like some of the most really shit you've said, bro. Is that like growing up around people that were a little bit more wealthier than you are, like the classes, like you're saying, like really is eye opening to like. You're telling me like we don't have to live like this,
right?
Like we just living like this because like I guess like that's what you like, you know, like what life has provided us with, but like we don't have to live like this. Like, you know, like there's other outcomes of life.
Say there's another side of life.
Because it and the other thing too, because I grew up with a single mom, is like sometimes going over to some of my friends' houses that were a little bit more like probably like financially stable, I guess is really like the answer to this. I really don't know. Is they had like a healthy parent relationship. And even to this day, there's a lot of people that I know that I'm like, damn, bro, like y'all got like a really nice example to go off of.
Yeah.
You know, but being in like a single mom living household, like it definitely was like different. You know, like it definitely, like me looking back now as an adult, I do see how like it impacted me mentally. I just wasn't aware of it at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, damn, bro. I was like, you like going over to so and so's house because their house was normal, like the normal like family, picture-esque shit that you see like on like Hollywood or whatever. Right. Like, but you didn't have that. You know what I mean? But the reason why you like going over to their house is because they had that, and you got a little glimpse of that. You know, like that. Like looking back a lot on some of that stuff, I'm like, damn, nigga, like. That shit is real. That shit is real and it's different, bro. And it's definitely different.
And like you said, you don't even understand at that age.
No, you don't understand it.
You understand that, like,
that you want to be there.
Yeah, you want to be there. It feels right to you.
And in your head, you're like, well, of course, he's my best friend. So I would want, because at that time, you know, like most of the time, the people you're sleeping over or like hanging out with, like you're really good friends from school or whatever the fuck, or in the neighborhood or whatever the fuck. So. You know, in your head, you're like, I'm hanging out with them because they're my homie. You know, they're the person I play fucking Pokemon with. They're the person I fucking play soccer with. They're the person that I hang out with on the bus, whatever, right? But then you look back and you're like, man, I haven't talked to that motherfucker in 15 years. So it really wasn't like that strong of a connection. If that's what we were thinking. But then you start looking back of like, what was like, what attracted you there, and like you start breaking it down, and I think that's as an older, like as an adult, like I started to realize, I'm like, nigga, you like the fact that they had a normal house, like a normal family.
Yeah.
And like since your family was like broken or whatever, like that's something that wasn't provided in your household.
Yeah.
So you had to go to your homie's house to like get a glimpse of it, if that makes any sense.
Cause you just feel that piece missing, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't really know what it is at the time as a kid, man. But
you have no clue.
You feel it's missing.
You know, there's something like off, but like you don't put it together because you're like, oh, it's like it's regular, it's normal because it's part of your normal reality.
Mommy.
Yeah,
Right.
but like it's not the norm per se. And then once you get like exposed to what's the norm, then you're like, oh, it is a little different.
I think it happens when you get like, say you go over to that person's house and you get exposed to their dad, and he's like real involved and shit like that. And
yeah,
like,
that's when you're like,
fuck.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, bro, you get this every day.
And so the other thing too, that was kind of like an eye opener that you kind of sparked the thought right now that like later on I like figured this out, and this was like kind of more like a teen thing where I was like, oh shit, is that I almost always would see like other kids being shown like more support by their mom, right? But what it was is these bitches were stay-at-home moms. So they were showing up for every little thing for their kid, and they were fucking doing all these little things because like
they fucking could.
Because they could. Because they were stay-at-home moms. My mom was fucking going to work and fucking breaking her back so we could have everything we possibly could. So in those moments that I was like, well, why couldn't mommy be part of this or whatever? It was like, bro, because mommy was working too hard to fucking pay our bills and have a roof over our head. But Mrs. fucking Wilson down the road didn't have to do that because she was married to a fucking dude that was like making great money, and she was able to be a stay-at-home mom for the last fucking
he was able to provide that life
whatever.
for her.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so, and that was another thing that I was like, oh, so mommy's able to go to that, like, that I realized later that I was like, you're like, and it might have even been on something that I was like, damn, like, why isn't mom coming to this with us or whatever, because I would see other people in high school with their parents going to like events or whatever. Or they were coming to the events, like the school games and stuff or whatever. And then I was like, oh yeah, because she's not just at home chilling, trying to figure out how to get you fucking ready for the prep rally. She's at work, like, so like that was like something that later on when I was a teenager kind of clicked on. That I was like, oh yeah, that's why it's different. That's why you can't have mom here all the time, because that mom was married to the right rich person or whatever. I don't know how else to explain it.
I remember we like talked about that day was underneath the tree. We was talking about like some kids don't get everything they want, because we was talking about how like you were saying like say if you didn't get something for Christmas, like because your parents had to work for it and had to be like doing all the work to be there, like going to work and stuff. But like the point George was talking about, like his mom was like, he said his mom was at work, so she couldn't be at the games and stuff like that. So she out there providing and doing what she can, so she can't be there. But the thing I was thinking about is like how we were saying, like talking about under the tree, was like he was saying like being a single parent, and then like I remember like one time I actually took over one of my mama's jobs that she was working at. Like she used to work at Cafe Rule, which is she was washing dishes. Cause like I had to because I got in trouble, so I had to get a job. So then, like, taking over the job, and like looking back at it now, it made me realize like she was really like working this job, taking care of us, like three of us and herself. Cause I don't know how she was doing it. Cause like when I started, I was only making $8 an hour. So it's like if she working here, she might have been making, let's say, $10 an hour. But that's 3 kids plus her, and you got to pay for like the house, all this. So I'm like looking at it now, I'm looking like, how did that even work?
Fuck, did you make
like,
that shit
what
work?
I'm saying?
Bro.
Like,
I think we all end up having that revelation,
like,
bro.
100%.
At some point, like,
I think we've talked about it a lot, bro. Where like it was like, especially before mom passed and shit. Like my mom was like my best friend, so I was able to talk to her. Like especially after like I want to say like 21, 22, like she became like my homie, bro. Like my homie, bro. Where we really weren't like necessarily talking like mother and son anymore. It was like I was just talking, and I would answer the phone like a homie, like where like she would call me, and I'd be like, "Yo, what's up, my nigga? Like, what are you up to?" And like I would like go into conversation and kind of talk to her. Not much differently than I would talk to like someone like you on the phone, but then eventually like I'd be like, okay, mommy, I love you, whatever, blah blah blah, blah bye. And then I get out the phone, and people would be like, "Was that your mom?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You talk to your mom that way?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro, she's my best fucking friend." And like she never made an if, but, or and about it, bro. Like she just like flowed with it because I think like after a certain point, she just understood that like I didn't necessarily need a parent anymore. It's not that she didn't parent me, because there was definitely times where I would open up to her and she'd be like, hijo. No. You know, like she would just like guide me, I guess, you know, and be like, yeah, you're fucking up or whatever. But there was plenty of other times where she understood that I didn't really necessarily need like the parent. I needed like a friend to talk to. And like that's when it switched over and we were more friends and shit. God damn it, but I lost my fucking train of thought there for a second of where I was going with that. Oh, that's where I was going. So I was able to talk to her about at certain points where like it didn't matter what age it was, because I mentioned this to her several times. Let's say like I said it at 22, 24, and like 28 or whatever. But I was like, Mom, I don't know how you did it, bro. Like I don't know how you did it. Like I got fucking at the time maybe 2 dogs, eventually 3. But I was like, dude, I have these 2 dogs and myself. And sometimes I'm like, fuck, bro, like this is a lot. And they're just fucking dogs. And I would tell her, I'm like, dude, like, and I often think about how, like, at this point, like, you would have a 4-year-old and like a 8-year-old, or like a fucking 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and like, you know, I would just compare to where she would be compared to like where I am in life, and I would always tell her, like, dude, like, I just don't understand how you manage to make shit happen. Like I just don't get it, bro. Like I feel like I'm barely making shit happen. You know, even to this day, I feel like I'm barely making shit happen. And somehow she was able to take care of 2 kids and herself.
Yeah,
it's honestly crazy, bro. Like like parents in a way are magicians.
We gotta give a round of applause for the mothers.
Yeah, bro, for sure. Round of applause for all the parents that give a fuck, bro. That's really what it comes
all the
down
parents,
to.
actually, mothers and fathers.
Yeah,
too,
all the parents that give a fuck.
Parents is actually there for the kids. We gotta give a round of applause
for sure. That's another thing too that I like to see, like out of the homies, like for example, you and like a couple other homies that I have that like I've had kids recently in the last like 2 to 5 years, is like seeing them, because like some of the homies that I know, like they were like being degenerates out there with me themselves. You know, they were out there drinking every weekend. We were getting fucking plastered. We were fucking throwing up in urinals and shit. Like just doing fucking degenerate shit that you like. I look back on it and I'm like, dude, we were a bunch of fucking morons, right? But there's some people that were doing crazy shit with me on the weekends, or people that are now are like fathers and like barely drink. Or if they drink, it's like on special occasions, and they're very much on their shit. You know, they go to work, come home, and take care of the family. Like it's like so crazy to be like, dude, I knew that guy when he could chug a fucking handle of Jack Daniels. Like his party trick was to chug a bottle of Jack Daniels at the beginning of the fucking party, and then continue drinking from there on until the party was done. You know, like I know people that like just did crazy shit growing up that like now their life is completely different, and I like see why though. You know, like I think as like kids that are now grown, we want to like redeem the mistakes that our parents made, but at the same time we're also trying to just do the best we can.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Like it's just like, and we're slowly realizing, I think, that like that's what our parents did.
Yeah,
right.
Is that they just did the best they could.
Yeah,
and I with time is what I've like. That's what's made me realize is like, dude, everyone's just doing the best they can, and some people are doing a little bit better than you, and then other people are doing a lot better than you. But at the end of the day, everyone's doing the best they fucking can, bro. And it's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's just the cards that you've been dealt, and I think that's part of your fucking character development.
it is.
You know, I think that's part of the character development, to see where you end up or what you end up doing with yourself, I think. You know?
It's part of the training to go through that shit.
What you make out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
How else you gonna get stronger?
How else? How else? Real shit.
Hell yeah.
Trials and tribulations, bro. Failures.
We get through them though.
Lead to wins.
I want to touch on one more thing before we got out of here. You said trials and tribulations, man. There's a lot of that goes on in our individual lives. Things we talk about to one another, things we don't, you know.
Yeah.
But I really come to realize how important it is that we've developed what we've developed up to this point, you know, and what we'll continue to develop. And that's just something like totally fucking real, like amongst one another. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that shit has really, I could definitely say, like, especially like this past year, that shit has like kept me going for real.
I could agree 100%.
Just surrounding myself with certain people, disconnecting with certain people, and really seeing who's in that core. You know what I'm saying? Who's really there, you know,
Right.
who has consistency, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm just happy we've been able to create that here, you know, and become a real fucking family, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And like I think that's one of the things that I like a lot about like this new place is that like me and Case have always talked about how we wanted to be the house that like is kind of like the HQ for people, you know? Like where people can come over and like spitball ideas or just like fucking come to chill and like hang out or whatever, you know? And like I think one of the things I appreciate the most about your friendship is like, you know, you'll tell me you'll come over, but like I don't necessarily have to worry about entertaining you.
He said we can come over and just chill, basically. Like I ain't
Yeah.
gotta say nothing. We can just be
Dude,
sitting there in the quiet and
bro,
be chilling.
and you have no idea how many times like me and Shabri like we'll do shit, you know, like we'll talk, we'll fucking chit chat, but like it'll get to a point where like he'll fuck off and get on the living room TV and he'll just watch anime or whatever the fuck he wants to watch, and then like everyone's kind of like in their own room.
Yeah.
Shabri's just chilling here, and like no one's gonna tell him to leave, and no one's gonna tell this man like go home or anything. Like we don't like because the other thing too that like is dope is like I'll usually the reason why I branch off from Bree is to go play video games, and so I'll go play video games for a little bit, and then I'll play video games for like an hour or two, and Bree's still here, and then like it kind of reminds me of like living with a sibling in a weird way.
I could say,
where it's like
you
fuck off and you do whatever you do, you know, in your own room with your own fucking time, and then you're like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, and then like he usually's watching anime or something where I'm like, I'll watch this.
And
then I'll start asking him questions. I'll be like, "What's going on here? What are you watching? Why are you into this?"
or vice versa.
Yeah, or vice versa. Same shit. Like, there's been times where like this motherfucker come out here, bro. He's in the lanai, just like I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Actually, most of the time, like
Ain't no telling.
Either I come out here and he's meditating or he's on a notebook. But like, it's not like I'm like, oh, let's go check up on him. Like he's doing his own thing, and then he'll come back inside, and then I'm watching anime. He's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Oh, this." And he's like, "Okay." And then you'll just sit down, dude. We'll watch anime for like hours. Like it'll be like 11 o'clock at night. Like we'll watch anime until like 1:30, 2 a.m. Like just watching anime, bro. Just different shit. There were like videos of like shit that interests like I think both of us. Like I'm a big car guy, so I'll just like start watching random car YouTube shit, and he'll just start watching it with me and shit. But it's like I've really come to enjoy this weird like communal space that we've like almost nurtured with our friends.
Yeah,
because you're not only the only person that comes over and does shit like that. Like Beth, you've seen Beth come over and do shit like that.
I've ran into a lot of people just because of
just chilling, bro.
Yeah,
just fucking chilling, just like passing by or just coming over to hang out and there's the other thing too is like we've become like the providing house in a way, and I think that's really dope too. Where like people come over without like, I bet you didn't expect to get fucking fed tonight, but
I mean, I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
did we really? Okay. But like, I feel like a lot of other friends that like maybe aren't over that frequently, or like are just over like once in a blue moon. That like we're not gonna be
Mhm.
like, okay, we're gonna eat now, get the fuck out, like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's
So
only
we
3 hours.
usually like cook. So if we know someone's over, we're like, all right, we're gonna grab enough food for all of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, there's been plenty of times where like we give a plate to people, where we're like, oh, there's food, and they're like, oh, thank you, like, you know, like I didn't
Mhm.
expect to eat or whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting steak tonight. But, I was like, I thought I was gonna cook or something.
But yeah, man, like that's dude, like it's been Case and I's goal for like a long time to be like this type of household where like people just show up and we're just like, yeah, we're doing our own thing, like make
Right.
yourself at home.
But you know, we
Like-
have created that as well. Like we do fucking have dinner and shit so frequently.
We do,
It's
bro.
like expected
we do.
now,
We
you know?
definitely, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I guess you are right. That it's kind of expected now. That it's like, oh, what are we having for dinner?
Yeah.
Well, I remember,
Shit.
well, you said y'all had pasta last time. I wasn't here for that, so I remember last time I came, we had a salad.
We had salad and chicken.
Yeah, chicken salad.
The rotisserie chicken.
And I forgot what they made. It's been a couple times. I forgot. It's been a bunch of stuff made. A bunch of good stuff, I should say.
Who knows, bro? We always cooking something up in this motherfucker, bro.
And I was telling him earlier, I was like, it's nice having a chef around just because.
Yeah, because Luke, it's the truth.
And he doesn't mind. That's the thing. He doesn't mind cooking. Because you'll look and see, it's like, do I want to ask him to cook? And then you'll see him in the kitchen cooking. He's like, this motherfucker
He
loves
can't help
this
himself.
shit. Yeah.
He can't help himself.
He loves
bro.
this shit.
It's
Yeah.
like me seeing a dog somewhere where I'm like, I could help that. I could help. Ma'am, let me just show you real quick. I feel like he's very much that way. 'Cause, like, there's been times where like he'll be like, well, like I'm just so tired of cooking all the time. I'm like, motherfucker, there's been times where I'm like, hey, how do I do this? And instead of you telling me how to do it, you just start doing it. And you think I'm gonna stop you? You're already in the rhythm, bro. You're already in it. I asked you what I should do, so I have like a better understanding and a better game plan of like how exactly to cook this and what process to take. But you just took over, and I'm not gonna stop you. You're a chef, bro. You're gonna do a better job than I am. So it's just like interesting to see that like he's like, oh well, like I don't want to cook all the time, but like it's like when you watch him, you're like, you can't help yourself. Like, you can't help yourself to watch. Like you can't watch people cook. You have to be part of it. Like he has to some way, shape, or form be part of it to like either improve the dish or like just make sure it's cooked well or properly or whatever it is. But like it's just so interesting to watch that motherfucker like just like not be able to like have the self control.
Like, man, you're not even cutting them onions right now. Watch out, man.
Yeah, literally, bro. It's on some shit like that where he's like, "You're taking too long," and then he's like, he does it, like you know what I mean, like because he's just like, "I'll do it. I got it. I got it."
Nice. That's all you need.
Yep, 100%. It's so funny, bro. It's
Hell
so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, this shit's been dope, man. Especially like you moving closer, bro. That has been like everything.
Such a blessing.
That's been everything for me, man. Like just to have you guys this fucking close, man. And
bro, it's awesome, man. We enjoy it. We enjoy having like Kenji over and shit. It's like it adds like life to the house, bro. So it's nice. It's nice. Like because even the when there's periods of times where you won't come over for like 2 or 3 days, it's like almost like, damn, like it's so quiet up there.
right.
Even though we're loud, like as people, like Luke and I, we're loud. Like it's still the kid adds like a different factor to the household.
No doubt.
Well, it's like no wonder like parents and like grandparents get depressed when everybody moves out the house. I now recently have started to see it a lot more. Where I'm like, yeah, bro, you go from like having a house full of children and life and shit, and there's noise coming out of this room and noise coming out of that room, and there's just warmth,
it's life in
and then all of a sudden it's just like you and the dog, you know, or like or you and the goldfish, and now there's like not a lot going on in the house, you know. And before you had like 4 or 5 kids in that motherfucker, and now there's not, anyone.
It's you and your thoughts.
Pretty much, man. Like I honestly like I've like recently thought about that too, where I'm like, damn, it's so funny to like just hearing Kenji's like laughter and babble and shit around the house makes like so much more of like a warm house feeling than like when he's not here.
Yeah.
And so like when you don't come over for a couple of days, it's like, damn, where the kid at?
Right.
It's so funny, bro.
You feeling? I think I was telling you, man, like like even when I don't have him, I always feels like he's like right there with me, man. And it gets me sometimes, like especially like when I'm driving, man. I'll think he's in the back seat and he won't be there, bro.
Damn.
Yeah, it'd be like after I've dropped him off and with his mom or something like that. But I'll just always feel him there, bro.
Because it's just like the like regular lifestyle now, or whatever, like environment per se. Yeah.
But they make an impression, man.
For sure, man. For sure, absolutely. And watching him grow is cool as fuck too.
That's my favorite part, man.
Watching him like develop in so many different ways has like been really cool to watch. Like
been able to be a part of it, like
to
have any kind of input in
100%.
it. You know,
it's dope as fuck. It's dope as fuck, dude. Watching his like facial expressions and shit too, like it's just cool, bro. It's cool seeing everybody individually interact with him too, and how like everybody like kind of pours a little piece of them into him and shit. Like it's cool. It's cool as fuck, bro. It's dope.
Yeah, I like that.
Family shit, bro. Family shit. Real family shit.
How it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
for real, man.
The whole village got to pour into the child.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
But bro, we always said we was gonna do this, even back when we were it was just me and you fucking
chopping
every
up,
week,
bro.
Figuring this shit out, man.
Yeah, man. We've come with even that's a lot,
bro.
Of growth,
All that, bro. It's been a lot of fucking time invested in it.
A lot of time invested in this shit. That's crazy, bro. Sometimes you lose sight of that shit. It wasn't until you mentioned it right now that I was like, damn, this whole concept did start off us fucking sharing joints in my living room, talking about
that. Huh? We were just talking about that. You said how you like just had a core memory, but you didn't think about it till you brought it up.
Yeah. Yo, shit, that's right. That's how we started this up earlier too. Yeah. See, everything's coming back in a full fucking circle, dude. It's crazy. But yeah. Fucking G shit, man. It started off in the living room of the old spot, just like passing a joint around or a fucking blunt or whatever, and being like, we should
do things with our life.
Record our conversations, man. We should fucking make a fucking podcast and shit. And here we are, fucking a couple years later, doing it, dude. Going back to the conversation of like where you were at fucking 5 years ago and the moves you were making is where you're gonna end up from 5 years from now or whatever the fuck, you know? Like dude, that's crazy. This is legit a full circle conversation that like. Now what we're saying all this shit, I'm like, damn, this is literally all the topics that we were talking about that was like coming into fruition live and in action.
Right.
Live and in action for us, bro. Like that's so fucking cool. So fucking dope.
Like just check it out. We branded now.
Oh yeah.
We got DSK under here.
Everybody fucking branded. That's another thing too, bro. That's another thing too, bro.
Look at them kingdoms united, man.
Some of the crazy shit. That nigga made the hoodies, bro.
Right? So we ride together, but we all got our own flavor, our own taste. But we still move as one, man.
Definitely crazy to think that some of this shit started off with conversations.
Yeah, bro.
Just
all this shit.
Just bullshit.
Ideas.
Yeah.
Ideas, conversations.
Just fucking.
Then those small steps we were talking about.
Yeah.
To get there. We've been fucking helping each other get there, man.
And even like the small little like runs that you did too at the beginning.
The what?
With your little episodes and stuff that you did, like with Sue, like the interviews, episode. Like all that shit, like now looking back, I'm like, damn, like this literally all led to these ideas that we've been talking about for a long time.
Yeah.
And we both in different ways like tiptoed into where we wanted to be. Where we are right now.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy to think about.
And y'all don't even know. I'll go back even further. When I first got out of high school, the very first class I went to at the community college was audio engineering.
Oh, no way.
And this is fresh out of high school.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Took it for I don't even think I took it for a month before I quit school.
And now we here audio engineering our own shit.
It's crazy, right?
Crazy shit.
But it ended up coming back because I was always because you know my homie back then he had built a studio in the back, so I've always been in a studio around microphones and shit like that. Like
that's interesting.
Ever since I was like out of high school, man.
Interesting.
And then it's just grown into this.
I did not know that either. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's grown into this, man.
So you, in a way, were always tiptoed into this. Like you were always kind of like on the path to something in this department. You kind of just didn't really just like concrete knew what it was.
Yeah.
Well, because like for example, me, I was just like I don't know. Like I legit, it wasn't until I was like 24, 25 that I was like dog training.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I was like, I don't know. You could have asked me, I probably could have been like, oh, astronaut. I don't fucking know. Like I can't even think of it. Like that's how lost I was in direction.
Mm-hmm.
That early 20s after high school, I couldn't even think of what like my end goal plan was. Which I think Casey actually brought this up the other day. I didn't think because of the motorcycle, I didn't think I was gonna make it past 25. I was like, I'm probably gonna end up fucking smudged on the road before I make it to 25. So I think that's part of why that mental state was like stuck in my head as a youngin.
I was like, damn, you were mentally moving like that?
And then, dude, it was pretty, dude. I'm telling you, bro, I was a fucking degenerate when I was younger. But I was also like really crazy on the bike and shit. I was young. I was full of fucking testosterone and adrenaline. So, and I was like, I should have not purchased a 1,000cc motorcycle as an 18-year-old. Like that's definitely like not something
he went crazy.
I recommend. That's just exactly what I'm saying, bro. I'm telling you right now. Like,
the beginner bike, like what, a 250, ain't it?
Nah, I was 1,000. I started
No,
right off.
The beginner's bike is like 250.
Yeah. Beginner's bike is 250, bro. I went fucking 4 times that shit. I said, fuck that. I said, I'm gonna get bored off that shit. And I was just like,
drop this nut.
And that's what I'm telling you. Like, and Casey brought it up the other day where she was like, this makes sense. And I was like, why? She was like, motherfucker, you didn't think you were gonna make it this far. And like I like actually like sat back and I was like, that explains why like I feel like I didn't have a plan until I was like 24 or 25. And I think it like started to connect where I was like, hey bro, it's looking like
we're gonna make it.
It's looking like we're making it. So what's plan B? And I think that's where those thoughts started to spark a lot.
Man.
But yeah, before that, like I think it was, I was very convinced that I was probably gonna end up fucking smeared on the fucking asphalt at one point before I was 25, especially because of the way I drove, and it was a daily driver. Like I didn't have a car, I daily drove a motorcycle. I was fucking ripping around town, going 100 like all the time, bro. So, and we live in a town where like old people don't know how to drive. So like I'm telling you, like I was like, according to my calculations and my variables, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And then I had a couple bad wrecks, and then I made it past 25, and then I think that's where it was like, oh shit, dude, like it looks like it's happening. So kick it into gear, figure something out. And I think that might have had a big play into it because I don't remember.
I can see that.
I don't remember having like an end goal or like a 10-year plan or anything of the sort when I was like 21 to 24. Like,
I definitely didn't. I was definitely just wandering.
I was just
what happens.
Just being wild, bro. Like literally just being a wild boy, bro. Just being young, dumb, and full of cum, bro. That's really what it came down to.
Too full.
Just fucking too full, bro.
Too full, just waiting to be empty, nigga.
Just hunting for butt. Just fucking just on it all
fucking
the time.
Setting traps for it.
Dude, it was crazy, bro.
Clubbing it over the head.
There's this weird parasite that gets into your bloodstream in your fucking young 20s as a man, and it just requires you to fuck a lot of pussy.
These are true words. Vulgar as they may be, these are true words.
I don't know what it is, bro. It's like a fucking parasite of the mind that just makes you extremely horny for that time, and you just think about one thing and one thing only, and it's how to get butt.
He said, "I got the urge to purge."
That's it, bro. That's it, bro. Like if you, that's another thing. I feel like if you asked me when I was in my early 20s, what's your goal? It would have been like, fuck pussy. Like, what's your goal today? Fuck pussy.
Many different varieties as I can.
Like I don't know how I'm gonna get to that goal today. I don't know if it's gonna be possible, but like the primary goal, it was on some Pinky in the Brain shit, dog. Like what's our plan today? And in their case, it was trying to conquer the world. In my case, it was trying to get me laid. That was my goal.
And ain't it crazy how we go from that to fucking teaching against it?
Almost going the opposite way and being like, listen, young blood.
Don't.
No pussy is worth it. Stay away from it. Focus on you. And it doesn't matter, bro. I had plenty of OGs try to tell me that shit. Look me in the eyes and tell me that shit. And I was like, listen, bro, I care about getting my dick wet, and that's about it.
It's like, do not fall into the warm moisture.
Yeah. It's like, have you came lately? It's like,
it'll drown
feels
you,
great.
man.
Like,
It will drown you.
But I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, it just fucking feels great, bro. And like, they were like, no, youngin, nah, it's never the way. And I really didn't want to hear it, bro. I really didn't want to hear it.
He said, you ain't lived long enough yet, youngin. You see.
You're dead, literally, bro. I definitely remember a couple OGs like basically giving me that talk of like, no woman or vagina is worth fucking losing time and effort for it, and me being like, nah, man.
Bro, once you reach OG status, you realize how true that shit is.
Yeah, for sure.
Realize how much time you wasted out there hunting.
Just wasted away.
So take heed to that, young man.
Just wasted away.
I'm soaking it in right now. I'm still young.
He still got
take
the parasite
heed to
in
that,
him, bro.
man.
He's still working against detoxing, bro. But it'll happen.
You gotta look at those things that like that really draw you in. You can't really explain why. You gotta watch out for those things, like most of all, bro. And for me, it just happened to be asses.
It just happened to be women. I don't know what to say, bro. It just, yeah, it happens. It happens, bro. It happens.
Yeah,
It's
man.
life.
Practice self-control out there, man.
Practice it.
Don't get caught up. It ain't worth it.
Don't get caught up for sure, bro.
It ain't worth it at all.
It's not worth it at all. It's not worth it at all.
All right, let's close this bitch out.
This shit was popping, bro.
It's another lovely night. What is it? 1 a.m. out here? See these hours we putting in, y'all? It's 1 a.m. It's chilly out this bitch. We still getting it in, man. Getting y'all this content.
It's 1 o'clock and y'all sleeping right now, man. What
Right?
y'all doing?
Y'all sleeping.
Most people sleeping for sure. Bro.
We producing, baby. That's why we're gonna continue to grow and grow and grow some more.
I'm still probably gonna play Call of Duty.
Right? I'm already thinking shit. Getting home with my kid.
New season just dropped today, baby. Season 2. So I'm probably gonna log in like at least an hour, maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely gonna have to discuss some gaming, man.
Fuck yeah.
I've been getting into the streaming myself. Your ass been.
I've been slagging, bro. I've been slagging, but I need to get like a fucking external hard drive so I can actually start keeping recordings, and so I can start trimming them down. Because there has been moments where I've done some clutch ass shit. Like last night, I won a Resurgence fucking battle royale, and it was me versus 4 people, and I clutched the fucking 4v1, and I won the game, and I was like, damn, that's fucking content right there.
Yeah, bro.
I was hyped too. I fucking got up from the chair.
You at 60 prestige,
dude.
You know how much content 60 prestige would have been, nigga? Getting all the way up there.
There's definitely been a good amount of times where I've been like, damn, like I should have clipped that. I should have clipped that, bro. I should have clipped that. But I mean, whatever, man. We're learning. It's a process.
Doubt,
it's a process. But yeah, we're gonna get on that shit. We definitely gonna get on that shit.
And sometimes, like within the crew, you got others like focusing on certain things, and you can see them and be like, damn, maybe I need to get back on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For sure.
So I like that we all are like pretty much into the same shit.
Yeah, motivating each other.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, gaming and anime and other shit like that, like we just like the same shit. So
very common interests for sure.
Yeah. So we can inspire one another with our similar passions and shit.
Fuck yeah.
Even, different passions. Like I love dogs. They aren't my passion. But I've learned a fucking ton just being here. Yeah.
My ass fucking
yeah,
talking
man.
to the dogs.
Like a lot of useful information though. Like a lot of useful shit. Shit I can even like tell people if I see them out. Like a little bit of shit I know. I'm like, yeah, this, I might be able to tell them something you told me. That can help them.
Nice, man.
You
That's
know?
dope. That's when you know your information is really starting to fucking bleed through.
Mhm.
This is when the homies start repeating shit like, "Hey, my homie said you should probably do this."
He's like,
It's not me. I ain't a dog trainer,
I
but
ain't
he's a
dog
dog
man,
trainer.
but
I
that's what he
seen
told
it.
me.
I seen it in person.
right,
It works.
right there.
Like it works. I seen it.
He said,
So that's dope as fuck.
Yeah.
That's like such a dope compliment.
that's how he put you on. He said, yeah, my homie George, he told me if you do this with your dog, it'll definitely help. So I think you should go follow his page, and then, you know, get that training, he come do it for you. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to do it on your own after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes.
He going to give you the game.
All right, baby. Last words. Joe?
Last words. Be good or be good at it, motherfuckers.
Man, King Deontay, what you got to say to the people?
Like I said before, wherever you at right now is where you meant to be. So be grateful for that and focus on getting better each day. 1% can go a long way.
No doubt.
That was beautiful.
I'm just going to say surround yourself with wonderful people, man.
Fucking hitters.
Hitters,
Fucking
quality people.
Quality.
Yeah, man, because, bro,
Makes
like I was
difference
telling y'all
sometimes.
before, man, sometimes I don't think I could have fucking arisen if I didn't have people kind of hold me up like, nah, nigga, we need you to be in this position. Get your
Right,
ass
yeah.
back up there. You know what I'm saying?
A
And
little bit of push.
yeah, that's
A little bit
really,
of push.
it's really helped me. It's really helped me get to this point and continue to
Yeah.
progress things further. And I just want to express my gratitude for that. I really can't give enough gratitude for that, you know, just to have that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Real shit.
surround yourself with good people, man. Continue to grow, continue to expand, continue to love one another, man, and cultivate some good plants, you know, within your life. But you guys got anything to plug? Websites, social media?
Pointy Ear Training, bro. Your boy Big George, Pointy Ear Training. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm trying to think what else. Website's pointyeartraining.com. So if you're interested in some training, if you're local here in Southwest Florida, hit your boy up for some training, bro. Let me change your life real quick.
Hit my man up if your dog got some issues, man. Yeah, help him get it together.
He's like, let me plug in my shirt.
Well, you see it, DSK.
Y'all see it over here.
He also made both of our hoodies.
D-Sign Customs
So
on
not only did
Instagram.
he make that,
This is
shirt,
D-Sign Customs.
and this.
That is D-Sign Customs. This is D-Sign Customs.
We in the building. You see it. We live in effect.
We live, baby.
The shirts are coming. We got you see we got shirts, jackets. I'm working on some shorts. We got cups. We ain't got the Shinobi cup in here, but we have cups. If you go to designcustoms.net, we had the Shinobi merch on there. I'm about to put this merch on there. And then if you go to Design Customs on Instagram, you can DM me to order your personal cups, shirts, hoodies, whatever you need. We got it.
Fuck yeah, baby.
All right, baby. There we go. It's been another episode of the Shinobi Podcast. Remember to check me out on Twitch, man. Go on there. Follow your boy. I've been getting some consistency going on there, and we're going to keep it going, man.
Hell yeah, brother.
What else we got? Hit me up on Instagram, YouTube, Shinobi Entertainment Network. Remember, check out designcustoms.net for your Shinobi apparel, your DSK apparel. Go check out the site. And shit, man. Thank y'all again for joining me. Being out here this late.
Thanks for having us on, brother. It's always a pleasure.
All right, man. But if y'all ain't got nothing else to say to the people, man, much love to y'all.
That's it, brother.
We'll holler at y'all on the next one, man. We're going to swiftly finish up this third season, you know.
Hell yeah.
Had some schooling to do. Had to put some shit on hold. I had to put the podcast on hold. I had some things I needed to handle. So now that those got handled, man, we back in the groove. So you can expect more consistent Shinobi podcast episodes. We're going to knock out this third season. Prep for that next one, man, and keep this thing going. All right. But much love to y'all. Until the next one. Peace out.
Deuces. We out, y'all.
Out this bitch. Need to warm up in this bitch. We need a bonfire out this bitch.
The Shinobi Podcast. We'll be returning soon.